Hello, hello.
Hey, hey.
Hey, I'm gonna try to go live on X. Yeah, we're having that error showing up on X, so this might not be going through straight to X. Uh,
Uh-oh.
yeah,
What's up, StreamYard?
yeah. The error they warned us about weeks ago that didn't happen is now happening for
Right.
real.
That's
Yeah.
what I was wondering. Okay. So we're not on Twitter right now?
Yep.
Oh, man.
Uh,
How do we get on Twitter?
well, it says wait a moment and then try again. I
Okay.
could leave the studio and come back.
Right.
Uh, I'll be right back.
You can do that? Oh, I guess he is. Well, hello, everyone. The few of you who are here, not from Twitter. Oh, he's back.
That doesn't do anything. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything we can do at this point,
Well,
other
this is
than
incredible
other than
bullshit.
stopping the stream. But stream's a stream.
But if you're on Twitter, the link to the YouTube is there.
Yeah.
So from Twitter, you can get here easily.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, well, that is amazingly stupid. StreamYard has been, I've heard from many other podcasters in recent months, StreamYard has been problematic for a bunch of people in a bunch of ways. This is the first time it's bitten us. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry to us. This definitely cuts down our audience, but whatever. It'll still be on YouTube. It'll still change the discourse about American politics. It'll still change the world. So let's continue, man.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty okay. Yeah. I'm again like I've been following alternative media for a long. Well, I'm done with alternative media. I'm like,
done?
I mean, pretty much like the anti-war movement just has like lost all of its credibility.
Has it?
To me, at least. I remember you saying this a few years ago. And I'll say his name because you've said it publicly, but Scott Ritter. We had this argument off camera where you publicly said he's obviously working for the Russians and he obviously has an agenda, and that's the only thing that could explain why he's making the moves he's making. And I was like, yeah, he might not. There's no way to prove that. And even if he is working for the Russians, so what? Let's evaluate his arguments on their face value. That was my belief. But now I'm like, this guy's a total clown. He just makes shit up. He doesn't know anything. He's obviously, I mean, we had him on for a class, and it was obvious he had
years ago.
Yeah, years ago.
5 years ago. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Yeah. That, and then Tucker Carlson jumped the shark having Douglas McGregor on. I loved listening to Douglas McGregor at the start of the Ukraine war, but this guy's been wrong about literally everything the whole time. He's made us all look stupid by saying the Ukraine war would be over quickly 130 times. He's been wrong about literally everything. He was wrong about Venezuela. He was, just perpetual egg on the face of the anti-war movement for like treating these people as if they're sage insiders with like special information, and they're not just blowing hot steam like everyone else is. They're probably working for an enemy of the United States to spread some sort of demoralization campaign or to scramble things around, or I don't know who they're working for. They might be working for the CIA to like honeypot foreign sympathizers into following their content, but I don't know what they're up to. But they're not into telling the truth about what's going on. That's all I know.
Yeah. Well, we know, and I said this years ago when it happened, that Scott Ritter has given at least one book tour in Russia that was sponsored by TASS, the state media organization. I don't care. I mean, it's totally fine. You can align yourself with any government or state or politics you want. Completely fine. I don't care. It's just that we have to take that into consideration when we think about Scott Ritter as an analyst. And I am sorry that I along with a lot of other people in 2022, I wouldn't say we're taken in. I mean, it's not like he's lied about everything, and some of his analysis is quite good, I think, you know.
It was relevant at the time too. It was, yeah.
Yeah, in 2022, no one else was making the analyses he was making, really. And some of it has been great and original, and you couldn't find it anywhere else, and it was absolutely important. But yeah, he then showed himself by 23, I think it was, as clearly. And I was a little suspicious in 2022, but by 23, it was clear that he was, you know, he is a partisan of the Russian state. Again, totally fine. Fine, fine, fine. Mark Sloboda, who's also been on my show, is also very clearly a partisan of the Russian state, almost even more openly, because he was wearing a Z badge on his lapel when I interviewed him, which was, you know, that's the operation, the slogan or logo for the operation, the special military operation in Ukraine by Russia. But he's an excellent analyst, and I think I continue to listen to him and follow him, and I strongly recommend people do. Mark Sloboda, I think he has his own YouTube channel. He lives in Moscow. Oh yeah, he's completely, his wife's, I think, Russian, completely a partisan of the Russians, but his analysis is excellent. And I recommend listening to him more than Scott Ritter. So anyway, yeah, the anti-war movement. So let's talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. And this was kind of my rant, I suppose, last week, and I'm going to continue it this week because it's gotten only worse. The very best people, with only a very few exceptions, of what we could call the anti-war movement in this country, which has been made up entirely pretty much of left-wingers and libertarians, like real socialists and Marxists and libertarians. That's who the actual anti-war, and I would say also the actual anti-imperialist movement. These are the people who are not just opposed to the current war, but have a broader critique of the American empire and want to shut it down or retract it or eliminate it. Real anti-imperialists. So far, I think there's 3 of us who are in that crowd who have podcasts. I think it's only 3 of us so far who are not saying, and they're saying this repeatedly, this is a war for the Epstein class. This is Operation Epstein Fury. This is a war to protect pedophiles. This is actually what the Iranian government is now saying on a regular basis. This is a standard part of their line coming out. Look what Israel and the U.S. do. They kill children. They kill girls in our country, and they rape girls in their countries. This is a war for Israel. This is like the next level up of abstraction of this argument. This is a war entirely for Israel. America gains nothing from this. This is all for Israel. And the reason we're doing these things for Israel, this war for Israel, these other wars for Israel, is because AIPAC pays a lot of money to our Congress people, which it most certainly does. And what else? Is it that the Jews have some ability to control the minds of Gentiles in the American government? It's stupid at best, and I don't care, but I think for some people it's just a product of their anti-Semitism. That's the filter they see the world through, which again is fine. It's just dumb. Like this is my opinion about all racism pretty much, is just that it's usually just stupid and prevents one from making serious rational analyses of the most important political issues of our time. And this is the most egregious example, which is that we, the anti-war movement, but this is extending to even Americans who are outside the anti-war movement, We are offering no coherent, compelling, persuasive, rational, logical, adult analysis of why the United States has gone to war against Iran. They keep saying it's because of Epstein and pedophiles and the Epstein class and yada yada, but there's been, since the war started, not a single shred of evidence presented by anybody that would lead you to believe that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You have something to say.
Oh yeah. Also, Epstein's dead. Like it just makes no sense. Like
he's been dead.
Yeah.
5 years, 6 years, 7 years.
And yeah, I know I've been arguing against, like, ever since October 7th, I've been arguing against accepting the frame of anti-Semitism as a thing. And I'd like to call it Jew hatred. That's the word I'd like to use because I think it's a lot more accurate as to what's going on. And it's definitely implanted itself into this movement, into this thing. And it's repulsive also. That's another thing, is that it's absolutely repulsive. Like, I think it turns off normal people into ever wanting anything to do with this. They're just like, oh, the Jew haters and their pedophile conspiracy theory.
Why is it repulsive? Because you and I trade in lots and lots of racial jokes, at least.
I know, but like,
just curious.
I mean, I don't think there's any hatred in our hearts at all in the kind of jokes.
No, it's love. That's why we make the jokes. That's exactly like why you've devoted your life to black music. You know, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sure. No. No. See, get out of that. I know you're Catholic and everything, but like, get out of that. Like, get out of the morality. It's just dumb.
Okay.
It just makes you stupid.
Well, like, I don't think repulsive is a moral claim. I think it's more of a. It's just it can be an aesthetic claim maybe, but it's just
okay. And it speaks to you and your own sensibilities. Again, I'm with you. I have the same sensibilities about this, but to me, the bigger problem is that it's just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And it stops people from making, I was going to say correct, but just rational, logical analyses of a war that's killing thousands of people.
Yeah. And you used the word paranoid last week, and I think that's a big part of it too, is you could see a paranoia forming from it. And yeah, it's an ideology that gives very stupid people an easy answer to everything, that makes them think they're smart. And it's a self-confirming pattern that sees itself in everything. Yeah.
It's just like, it's wokeness. It's the same as
it's white supremacy. Replace, the Jews with white supremacy, and you've got the same analysis in some way.
It's the same intellectual quality of wokeness, which is a radical reductiveness, which is also non-falsifiable. So you can just throw it around all the time, and it's, and because, yes, indeed, there are many Jewish bankers and many Jewish Hollywood executives and many Jewish politicians, you can always say anything that happens in the culture or in politics is because of the Jews. And you can just list 20, 30, 50, 100 Jews who are in those industries.
Yeah.
And that's all they do.
And I mean, the biggest argument against it is, as we've been saying, Jews are not a monolith. Like, there's the classic joke: two rabbis walk into a bar, they have an argument, between them there are three opinions. Like, there's Jews on every side of every issue who are passionate beyond belief on everything.
Yes, because Jews as an ethnicity are probably, I think this has got to be true, the most intellectual ethnicity in human history. And if you're intellectual as a people, and I think this comes from the rabbinical Talmudic tradition, we got to read the text to be good Jews. And so it's all about the text and then arguing about the text. And there's a lot of that in Christianity too, but I think Jews in particular, and also because of their outsider status, always their perpetual outsider status until 1948, gave them a perspective which was always partly inside and partly outside the countries they inhabited, which gave, for any intellectual, any social analyst, that's where you want to be. You don't want to be completely inside, because then you just become a propagandist and you don't even know it. You're just regurgitating the air that everybody breathes. But Jews historically, and this is completely true until 1948, were in fact a stateless people and were always outsiders within particular countries, treated as and saw themselves as that. And that is the best way to be an intellectual. And so, I mean, there's multiple reasons why Jews have been so intellectual, but yeah. There's nonetheless, by the time we get to the 20th century, I mean, they are outperforming every other ethnicity in intellectual pursuits by a factor of 10, something like that. I mean, there's a handful of, WASP intellectuals of the 20th century that we care about, and a handful of, Italian and Catholic intellectuals of the 20th centuries we care about. But my God, I mean, almost all of the most famous ones are completely Jewish. And that, you're right, gives rise to, anytime any ethnicity or any group at all is highly intellectual in that way, meaning curious, questioning, inquiring constantly. And by the way, there's a part of Judaism that actually does call for that, which is one piece of Judaism I do admire. You're going to have a lot of disagreement. And so this is why Jews, and in particular American Jews, and these are really, when we talk about Jews in America, we're almost always talking about American Jews, who are their own particular specific thing, by the way, different than every other Jewish culture in the world. But anyway, American Jews have produced what in terms of politics? Oh, most of the greatest communists in American history. Many or most of the greatest radical intellectual theorists in American history. Many of the greatest and most important anarchists, socialists, communists, anarcho-syndicalists, you name it, are Jews. The Communist Party USA, which had a membership of about 1 million people in the 1930s. Oh my God, I've never met a non-Jewish communist from that era, or a child of the communists. Over, like, probably half to more than half of the Communist Party at that time was Jewish. Meet a Jew from New York who was born in the early 20th century, and the chances of them having been communists at some point is about 98%. Like, in fact, I don't know if I've ever met one. I don't know. And I've known many Jews who were born in New York in the early 20th century. I don't know if there's one who wasn't a communist at one point. And at the same time, what else have Jews produced as cultural parts of the economy? The greatest capitalists in American history, the original bankers of the early 19th century. Something like half of the banks, the first American banks, were owned by Jews. That goes on into the 20th century. Not a majority, but yeah, like certainly disproportionately. And in finance generally, yes, wildly disproportionate representation among Jews in finance and banking. How do you square that? So what does that mean about Jews? Are they commies, or are they all shysters? No, they're everything, because they're thinkers. And they're highly ambitious, because they've had to be, because of the diaspora, because they've been stateless until 5 minutes ago in human history. They had to be hustlers everywhere they went to survive. They were put in ghettos often, and they had to make a living, and they had to make a living off of the local Gentile population. That's the only way you make a living, is by selling things to your host country.
Things that they wanted. Things that the host country wanted.
So the first thing you have to think about, and this is all you need to think about and have to think about all the time, is what do the Gentiles want that I can sell them? Yeah. And so that's why Jews have been so attuned to popular consciousness. And that's why they've been so incredibly good and successful in the realm of what? Popular culture. So American popular culture, like everything that's been pressed onto a record or sent on radio airwaves or put on a film reel or put on all of it and then sent abroad. I don't even know, but my God, the percentage of that was somewhere produced by Jews, American Jews, gotta be like, I don't know, way over 50. So, yeah, there we are. It's ridiculous. Oh, and then Zionism. Okay, and I've talked about this at length and ad nauseum. Yes, it's true that, yes, Jews, American Jews who are part of a synagogue and or a Jewish summer camp, which is a big thing for religious Jews. Yes, almost all, not all, but almost all have been indoctrinated since the age of 3 to believe that the Jewish people's homeland is in Palestine. Yes, and that everything that Israel does essentially to protect that is good and virtuous. Yes. That's a tiny, tiny portion of American Jews. Most American Jews are secular, non-observant, barely even identify as Jewish, have never been to Israel, don't care about Israel. If you ask them, and if a poll taker comes to their house and says, do you think Israel has the right to exist? They'll probably say yes. And that is their extent. That is the extent of their commitment to the Jewish state in Palestine. Again, I've said this so many times, and then finally about Jews and Israel. Everybody go on ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to give you a list of Jewish anti-Zionists, not critics of Israel, not critics of particular Israeli governmental policies. I mean, Jews who have been opposed to the very idea of a Jewish ethno-state in Palestine. Ask ChatGPT or Grok or whoever, or just go to Google for a list of Jews who have been opposed to Zionism as an idea, as a concept from the beginning, and it will not stop the list. It'll keep going and go. It'll give you 20, then 40, then 60, then 100, then 200, and there's no end to it, because there are entire Jewish Orthodox sects, Hasidic sects, in the United States. I'm thinking of the Satmars in particular, who's sort of the most famous and biggest, I think probably biggest Orthodox Hasidic sect in the United States. Giant, thousands and thousands. They have been anti-Zionist since they first heard about the idea. The Satmars, the Brooklyn and upstate New York, and I think Ohio, and I mean, they're big. The Haredi Jews in Israel themselves. That's why they refuse to participate in the IDF, to serve in the IDF. And that's why the big civil war within Israel right now is around that. Is around what do we do with the Haredim who refuse to participate in Zionism, or refuse to serve in the military. And they're starting to do what they've been doing in Ukraine. They've been going door to door and pulling little Orthodox Jewish kids out of their houses and thrusting them into a van and sending them off to the IDF training camp. Forcible conscription of these people. That's Jews. That's Orthodox Jews. These are real Jews who actually follow the rules of the Torah, which is what makes you Jewish. Yeah, those people, if you look at the action, not all, I know there are many Orthodox Jews who are complete Zionists, of course, but if you just narrow it to Jews who are actual Jews, who actually follow and abide by the rules and the Torah, which is a very small percentage, ask them. The percentage of them who are anti-Zionist will be off the charts. You'll be shocked. Real, actual Jews who actually practice the religion, many, many, many of them think this is the worst idea ever. Zionism in Israel. So, there you have it. Israel is a split off cult, which has almost nothing to do with Judaism as a religion. It was founded by ethnic Jews who were secular.
Yeah,
they were only they were like, yeah, my son and me, my mother, the only ethnic Jews, like had nothing to do with, which again, like, how are you Jewish if you just, because you like bagels and you use Yiddish occasionally? Like, yeah. Let's talk about the war.
Yeah.
The Jews they're controlling the whole thing. And now we're done. So everybody, so this is everything that you're reading in the news about what's going on in Iran is because of the Jews, and the Jews forced Trump to do everything here. And this is not in the interest of the United States whatsoever. It's only in the interest of Israel and the Jews. And now we're done. We can finish the show, because that has been the extent of the fucking analysis of the best people in the anti-war and anti-imperialist movement I've known. I mean,
if that's your conclusion, what course of action do you think we need to take if that's your conclusion about how things are going? Right, like
Auschwitz. Yeah, I mean, Auschwitz is the only, right? We should have done the job in 1944, 45.
Yeah, then we'd be free to have our own foreign policy, right?
Then we wouldn't have forever wars.
Yeah.
If we'd actually finished the job in 1945. So I don't think that Dave Smith, Scott Horton, Ryan Grimm, Crystal Ball, all these otherwise awesome, spectacular, wonderful anti-war critics, I'm not saying that those people are anti-Semitic, and that's why they're making this analysis.
Some of whom are Jews, by the way.
And some, although I gotta say, well, Dave is, but like, yes, and Max Blumenthal coined the term, he coined the term Operation Epstein Fury.
Yeah.
And I know, but I have to say, Max hasn't like leaned into that as his analysis when he's talking about the war. Thank God. But the Iranians are Mohammed Morandi, who's big on Iran, who otherwise, again, like he makes, even though, yes, he is speaking for the Iranian government, he has made some amazingly important counter arguments. But yeah, they're subscribing to this. It's so stupid, and it just robs you of credibility, at least in my eyes. So there's three of us. There's Michael Tracy, Brian Berletic, and me. And I think that's it. I don't know. I'd love for if someone would tell me if there's someone else who's making the counter argument, but I've only seen the three of us. Brian Berletic is doing the best job of it in the new Atlas. And I've recommended him before, and I think he's doing a great job on this issue in particular. And he's made 3, 5, 6, 7 videos about the Iran war on this issue particular. And one of the best things about what he does is he goes back to the beginning of the American empire, which is the American Revolution, when it was founded as an empire, not as a republic, by the founders that we all revere. Anyway, and ever since then, it's been everybody who has run the American national government has subscribed wholly to the idea that the United States has a special duty to go out and improve the world by force. And Trump is only different in that he is modifying it and redistributing the power of the empire. He wants to move most of the power to the Western Hemisphere and then give the power in the other hemisphere to his proxies, to the U.S. proxies like Israel and the United States. The idea that Israel will run, will manage, will oversee, will control the Middle East on behalf of the United States.
Well,
right? And Japan will do the same thing on behalf of the United States in Asia, is the idea that they're operating under.
But also, the Board of Peace and the Gulf states are a big part of that, building alternative institutions to things like the UN to do the governance of this is part of that vision.
Sure.
Yeah. That's another thing about this is when people were saying, oh, Israel dragged us into this war, Israel dragged us into this war. Like some intelligence was coming out right when this thing first happened that Saudi Arabia was actually pushing us to do this. And, that's something a lot of people are missing. Like the Gulf states are turned against Iran now, like largely.
Well, that's unclear. That's the Israeli line. That's the U.S. line. I don't totally believe that. I don't know, but here's what we do know, right? The reason Iran attacked those countries, and I've seen like a lot of like, oh boy, I'm not going to name names, but I might if you ask me. Anyway, people on Twitter who are otherwise savvy, certainly not. They're sort of they're anti-liberal, illiberal, libertarian, conservative, smart, generally, saying on Twitter, why in hell is Iran bombing Dubai? What the hell is this about? Why is Iran bombing Bahrain? That's stupid or crazy or self-destructive. Like, they don't just some of the biggest United States military bases are in those countries, and the attacks on Iran have been conducted through those bases. So if you would just spend 5 minutes just researching the basic facts of geopolitics and how the United States is participating in geopolitics in the Middle East, you would know that. But it's incredible how, I mean, anyway. Josie the redheaded libertarian. I mean, why is she even listened to? I mean, if you have to ask that question, once the war has started, then you shouldn't be listened to about politics in general.
Well, here's another thing. For that matter, Tim Pool.
I'm sure.
Yeah. And Alex Jones. I'm thinking the conspiracism is a total liability stuff now. It's like, yeah, not helpful at all. People are willing to abandon ship. They have no broad gestalt of how the world works. They have no plan. They're just chasing doomerism. They're just chasing whatever the sky is falling chicken little headline, not seeing any vision of anything. And yeah, it's a paranoid outlook, and it's a really unethical. Like, it's not about telling the truth. It's about getting views. Also, it's just the alternative media is everything that they criticize the mainstream media of being. If it bleeds, it leads type criticisms all apply to the alternative media, and it's really dumb and disappointing. And I'm ashamed to have ever been a part of it.
So, ooh, wow. Wait a minute.
I'm like, not you personally.
I gotta go. This is too much. I gotta go.
Dude, I'm like, for years we've been like, oh, the alternative media is great. It's
oh,
you know,
but wait, no, you're talking about MAGA media.
Yeah, MAGA. I mean, the liberal media is the establishment media. The alternatives on the liberal side
they're doing better now. They're doing better now than MAGA. Isn't that sad? That I can say this. I can say this confidently. What is it called? 10 toes down. That liberal establishment legacy media, like the New York Times, is doing a better job on the Iran war than all of the alt-right podcasts put together. For sure. Of course they are. Yeah.
They're doing a better job. They're kind of saying the same things, but they're not going insane about it. Yeah.
So I want to proffer a cultural analysis that might lie underneath all of this that I think is original, and I would like for people to think about this and let me know what they think. So when MAGA arose as a movement and Trump as a phenomenon arose in around 2015, I noticed immediately a class divide between MAGA partisans and the liberal partisans and establishment. And I don't mean about money. And I don't mean about owning the means of production. I don't mean class in a Marxist sense. I mean class in a more important sense, which is class in a cultural sense. Class is just as important culturally as it is economically. In my view, this is why Marxists, I think, kind of get half the picture. And I noticed that a lot of the criticisms, which were really just insults of MAGA made by my friends from college and high school who were liberals about MAGA, was about how they didn't eat salad and about how they watched NASCAR.
Yeah.
And about how they didn't go to college, unlike us. And about how they don't own passports, Michael Weimer, which is also true. And how they don't know anything or care at all about any country outside the United States, which is also true. And I noticed that myself, but at that time, from 2015 until 2025, I was always in the business, pretty much always in the business of fighting the liberals and defending MAGA about this, even though I am totally a cosmopolitan liberal by upbringing, almost by DNA. So, but wait, so listen, so here's how it works, right? So when you're a liberal who lives in a big city on one of the coasts or in Chicago, you know about French movies. You know, like what the great French, you've seen French movie, you've been to German movies, you've seen with subtitles. You've probably visited Europe more than once. Probably. You've probably studied one of those languages, at least somewhat seriously. You've probably studied one of those countries in one course you took in your college you went to. Okay. Conversely, it's true. MAGA is mostly made up of people who either didn't go to college or who went to college and they studied engineering, maybe, or business. They weren't interested in the humanities. And yes, they're parochial. Yes, they are. I think they have, in many cases, extremely sophisticated analyses of domestic American politics, like better than you can find anywhere else. And that's why I listened to MAGA media for 10 years, because they did often have the best analyses domestically, but they didn't know shit about the rest of the world. And I think that's part of why they're not so fond of immigrants. But I think it's also why they fell in line with Trump when he said, oh, the mullahs are going to attack us and they tried to kill me and they're going to attack and they're going to bomb us with nuclear bombs. Let me finish. And I swear to God, I'm just like, and then, so that's their virtue and problem by being parochial. They're sort of instinctively uninterested in wars, but they're also simultaneously easily persuaded into going along with wars because they're so ignorant of the rest of the world. Liberals, last thing.
Okay.
Swear to God. Liberals, on the other hand, I want people to understand I'm not defending liberals here. So liberals know everything.
Can I add one more thing to your analysis? Real quick. Okay, they also love air shows. They love NASCAR and they love air shows and they love the military. So any chance to use their cool toys is fun for them.
Sure, right? Yeah. They have a military fetish, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's that's a virtue and a vice from my point of view of the MAGA movement, right? They're uninterested in foreign wars. They have to be like led into them, which is good. But the problem is they are easily led into them. We just found out because Trump just said a bunch of bullshit and Pete Hegseth just said a bunch of bullshit. And they all went, okay, sure. What? Mullahs, Muslims, Iran. They don't know a fucking thing about anything having to do with Iran, but they're signing on to this stupid war because they're ignorant rednecks who actually they're not even rednecks. They live in suburbs, but whatever. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right.
I'm not done with the liberal analysis. Yeah, okay, Let me go ahead. Okay. I will get to that.
All right. You can finish your thing if you want to make the liberal analysis, just so this cleans up. Yeah.
I'm making an argument.
Yeah.
That liberals are worse.
Okay.
So just wait.
Thanks.
So liberals, the bi-coastal and Chicago liberals, right? Who all went to college and all have money and they all know who Louis Malle is and they watch foreign films like voluntarily on Netflix, things that MAGA would never conceive of doing. They eat at, fancy restaurants. They know what the New York Times, food critics have to say. Cosmopolitan, man. They're people of the world. They're citizens of the world. The problem is they're Americans. I'm talking about American liberals of the last 150 years, which means that in America, to be a cosmopolitan, to be a person of the world, means you have to join the Peace Corps and go to those countries and raise up the people in Togo and build them mud huts and make their lives better to improve their lives because you're an American, and that's what American people are taught is their obligation. And then when Togo has a civil war and a rebellion and they start to fight against each other and half the country wants to join with the communists and half the country wants to join with the United States, well, our liberals in San Francisco and New York City will say and have always said for 150 years, well, we got to go to war in Togo, in that country, to save the people and uplift the people from communism, from poverty, and make them like Americans. And so being cosmopolitan is a beautiful and wonderful thing that is a major part of who I am socially, and I'm proud of that, and I just don't know a better way to live. But in the American context, that has always been construed and constructed as a cosmopolitan interventionist, a cosmopolitan imperialist, a cosmopolitan who, yes, knows about the rest of the world, but basically believes always that America is the best and should manage and regulate, shape and change the rest of the world and how people live. So there you go. And that is why that is why the biggest wars that killed the most people were run by who? Not Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Liberals, Democrats.
Thank you.
All right, I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. Look, this isn't my war. I wasn't for this before it happened,
Yep.
But I'm on board with it because I'm behind my leader. I'm behind my glorious leader.
Wait, is that like a North Korean jam, or is that like an old Italian jam, or what is it?
Il Duce? No, it's just
like which totalitarianism are you subscribing to there?
Yeah, but again, like something that made Tucker lose some credibility for me. Like he interviewed Ted Cruz a few months ago, and Ted Cruz was like, Iran tried to kill Donald Trump. And Tucker was like, really? Iran tried to kill Donald Trump? If Iran tried to kill Donald Trump, we should nuke Iran right now. Do you want to nuke Iran? And this was the rhetorical trap he got Ted Cruz in. Because I think we should nuke Iran if that's true. I'm crazier than you. I'm more of a neocon than you. So you don't really believe this. Was the stupid bullying, boarding school trick that Tucker Carlson lured him into. But the truth is, somebody has been arrested for working for the mullahs to hire hitmen to kill Trump. That's true. Somebody has been arrested and charged for hiring hitmen.
Look into it.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not proven. It's not proven that there's a connection to the IRGC.
Okay.
The dude is like some basically American criminal with Iranian background.
The Pakistani guy with
yeah, he's not even Iranian, right? And it's like the leap from him to the IRGC is I've never seen that connection established. Who paid him to off Trump and what's her face in Brooklyn, the Iranian idiot CIA plant. You've seen her on all the news shows lately with the giant hair and the flower in her hair. Something.
But
anyway,
this guy said he testified himself in trial that it was the IRGC, that sent him to the U.S.
Oh yeah,
he had a handler to try to kill Trump.
Okay, yeah, and then what does that mean?
Now this might be, I know it might be a crazy Pakistani guy spinning a tall tale.
It could also have been prosecutors who are federal. Remember, working ultimately for the president, right? Prosecutors saying to him, hey, we'll shave off your sentence a bit if you say this in court. Duh. And what are the chances of that happening? Awesome, I would say.
Okay, that's all right. That's a layer of speculation.
Why on earth would Iran try to kill anybody in the American homeland?
Have you seen what Donald Trump has done to them now?
No.
Isn't Donald Trump a huge threat to Iran?
Yeah, and what would happen if they did kill Americans on American soil?
I know you'd have the total pretext to annihilate Iran. I get that. Yeah, but
we'd have the only possibility of a draft happening since 1973.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But half of the NFL football safeties would be signing up for the special ops, like Pat Tillman did. Like it would be a whole thing. The Army would be great. The special ops would be flooded with recruits. Air Force would be flooded with recruits, and we'd be killing motherfuckers right and left. Just like we did in 2002, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Yeah, man. Hey. So Iran ain't stupid. They ain't stupid. They're not stupid. They're very rational, actually very level-headed and controlled and restrained and highly rational. They know, I'm sure. I mean, they're not idiots. There are idiots in governments around the world. This ain't it. And they know that that's the worst thing that would happen to them. If some attack on the American homeland was attributed to them and proven, You kidding me? You know how American boys are. You'd have recruits up the wazoo overnight to go fucking kill some Persians. They wouldn't even know where Iran is, but they'd be willing to kill them.
What if it was candidate Trump in 2024? And you got President Nikki Haley or President Kamala Harris in 2025?
I'm missing your point. Sorry.
Like, I think it's less danger. Like, this guy was convicted for killing then candidate Trump, not President Trump.
Oh.
In 2024. I think it's less of a dangerous calculus to kill Donald Trump in 2024 than it is now, for example. And that, you know,
no one's trying.
Maybe the deep state might turn the other cheek on this one.
I just promise you, the Islamic Republic of Iran is not trying to kill Donald Trump.
Well,
not trying to assassinate him.
Maybe now they might be.
They never have. They never have. There's never been any evidence of it. No. I just it's so ridiculous. Like, if they had a reason to do that, I'm totally here to entertain it. Sure. But they have zero.
He's the biggest Iran hawk that they've ever had. He's the biggest threat to them.
Which president was not an Iran hawk? Every president has been an Iran hawk since 1953. So,
well,
no.
He's the only one who had the balls to actually do something, or maybe he's the only one to be dragged by Israel to do something. But
and they know if they killed him, Trump would become 3 times more popular because he would become a shaheed, a martyr. They understand what martyrdom is and what the effects are socially. This is why they use the ideas so promiscuously.
You know,
no,
After seeing Charlie Kirk die, you can't argue that political assassinations can't be effective sometimes. Like, I feel like the whole, the whole MAGA collapse that's happened, which I don't see it really as a collapse, but ever since Charlie Kirk died, everybody's been running off like chickens with their head cut off. Like, it's been really stupid. He's been the most effective communicator between people. He's been the most effective organizer. Like, right. Yeah.
But if Israel had killed him, which is what the conspiracy theory is, right?
Yeah.
Israel did not benefit at all. Israel has suffered constantly since his death.
Yeah, so but the left killed him.
Why would
and the left has benefited?
But this is why Israel did not kill Charlie Kirk, because they had also Israel's quite rational.
Yeah.
About such things, I think. Actually, in a murderous way, but rational. They understood, I'm sure, that assassinating Charlie Kirk would be the very worst thing for them to do for their own interest. And the left, well, sure, trans furries, whatever, they don't have self-interest. So they have nothing to save. They have no institution or organization or nation state. So of course they are completely at the whims of their own neuroses. But people who run nation states have to abide by the dictates and the needs of the nation state. And therefore have to act basically rationally in general. You just do. Even Idi Amin had to generally act rationally when he was running Uganda, because otherwise the thing falls apart immediately. So,
well, okay. But
yes, this is a war to protect pedophile Jews. It's true. It's true. Idiots.
Jewish cannibal pedophiles.
Fucking idiots. Yeah. Like, come on, guys. The American Empire, remember how old that is? Remember, guys? Remember when the American Empire started? Even if you don't want to go back to 1776, at least 1898. How old is Israel? How old is Zionism? What are you talking about? How on earth could a country of 8 or 9 million people with what is their military? It's powerful, but what is it? 1/20th, 1/50th of the power of the United States military? And their economy? Yes, they have money relative to the rest of the Middle East, but compared to the United States, what's the Israeli economy? The wealth, the GDP, compared to the United States, 1/100th, 1/1000th. It's a tiny fraction. So tell me how on fucking earth would this little stupid country control the global superpower unless you believe that Jews have mind control power? It's the only way you can come to that conclusion. Trump Trump is launching a whole war because Miriam Adelson gave him $100,000, $100 million. Sorry. I mean, like, it's other people have given Trump more. He's invested more of his own money. Anyway.
Yeah. You want to go to how you see the war playing out right now?
Yeah.
Because
Iran is too soft. That's my only beef with the war. What? They don't.
All right. That's another thing is, man, I'm following the war two ways. I've got the Telegram channels of the anti-war people and the Groypers and the people who have Telegram, following every little tit for tat thing that's happening. Yeah. And that's heavily pro-Iran. And then I'm on X, Twitter, to see what Trump and Ops OSINT and all those people are saying. Mm-hmm. And it's like disgusting to watch like people cheer on missiles going towards civilians, which is what I see the anti-war side doing, like hoping that Tel Aviv gets leveled just like Gaza got leveled. Like, turn Tel Aviv into Gaza is a refrain I keep seeing from supposedly anti-war people.
How many civilians has Iran killed, Mike?
I'm saying that. I'm saying I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't.
I can tell you a few things.
Okay.
So there have been a handful, meaning less than 10 civilian deaths from Iran strikes in the entire war. This was like shrapnel or like pieces of missiles falling on like maintenance workers at some industrial plant. Okay. That's in every country across the look. Everybody can look it up. It's something like that. Okay. Compared to, what the U.S. and Israel has done, which they killed 150 little girls in 1 minute in one strike. And since then have killed, the latest count is 1,200. Wait,
I still don't believe that girls' school thing.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
What?
I don't believe it.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing stinks to high heaven, but yeah.
Really? Okay. So Bahrain, right, which is the most famous. I mean, that's the Fifth Fleet base in Bahrain is sort of what people have known most about the attacks on. Has been just pummeled, from what I can tell. I think it's dust at this point. I don't know. And the infamous missile strike on the high-rise apartment building in Bahrain, right? In the main city in Bahrain, that's right. The horrific, it looked like 9/11. The Iranian missile went right into the top of that apartment.
Was that Bahrain or was that?
Yeah, it was Bahrain.
Okay.
99% sure. Yeah. Anyway, and while they're just blasting the shit out of the base in Bahrain that's right next door to the Fifth Fleet base, do you know how many civilians died in that high-rise apartment building? It was leveled. It was leveled by an Iranian missile. 0. Why? Because the United States had evacuated all of its personnel from Bahrain, and that apartment building was occupied by American service members. And Iran knew this. They knew that Bahrain had been evacuated. They have never once even close to attacked civilian targets. It's not even close. The comparison between the two sides, who is more humane? Every day of the week, I'm signing up with the Iranian side. If I want to protect civilians, civilian life, and honor civilian life, that side actually does honor civilian life. It's not perfect because they're entering a war. They're in a war, but no, they actually do. Whereas the U.S. and Iran are like, let's throw a missile there. It might go to a base. It might not. It's not even close. And then if you look at the last 3-4 years, how many kids has each side killed? How many children has Iran killed in the last 3 years, everybody? How many children has Iran killed in the last 3 years? Even if you attribute October 7th, which most reports say Iran didn't know anything about, even if you attributed that to Iran, there was one single child killed on October 7th. And that was probably by an Israeli rocket or rifle round. How many children has the United States and Israel killed since then? It's not even, it's like 1,000 to 1, the ratio. It's like 1,000 to 1 ratio we're talking about. We're dealing with the most murderous regimes on planet Earth in our lifetime, the United States and the state of Israel. And just do the body count. Just do the body count. In my lifetime, last 50 years, 60 years, who's killed more people? Who's killed more children? You can throw in Khmer Rouge, Pol Pot. Doesn't matter. We win. And if you attach our partner Israel, our unsinkable aircraft carrier in the Middle East, Israel, to that, it's off the charts, especially with kids, because Israel specializes in killing kids. We specialize in killing just lots of civilians. We don't discriminate about age. We just bomb cities full of them. Israel happens to bomb cities full of children. I mean, my God, the child death count of the last 60 years. Let's do that. Let's just do children killed in war in the last 60 years. You can give their side Rwanda. We still win. I mean, we carpet bombed how many countries in the last 60 years? Cities full of civilians and children. And now Iran. And the damn near the first thing we did on Saturday with this war was throw a Tomahawk missile into a school full of 160 little girls. It's just not even close, man. The reverence for human life among the enemies of the United States is greater than it is among the leaders of the United States. That's just statistical. It's indisputable. It's an objective fact. We have killed more innocent civilians than anybody else in my lifetime. By far. And the thing is, the Khmer Rouge and Pol Pot did it for 2 years, 3 years, and then they were done. We've been doing it every year. I think we've killed a kid every single year in my lifetime. I think so. Some of them have been American citizens. Anwar al-Awlaki in Yemen, whose father, unfortunately for him, Anwar was 16 years old. His dad was a jihadist American Arab preacher who was living in Yemen, who was preaching resistance to the American empire. He was preaching in Yemen as an American, armed resistance to the American empire. Quite a virtuous call in my view. And Anwar, who was a 16-year-old son, he caught a missile right after his dad did. Vaporized. It's from Chicago. Putin doesn't do shit like that. They say he does. Show me the evidence. We have the scorch marks in the desert to show that Obama made that kid into a burn mark. But we don't have any evidence that Putin's ever done anything like this. Yeah, he's gone to war. Yes, so has America. More than Putin has. What has she done? Tell me what she of China has done that compares with what these presidents in the United States have done. It's just not even close. Mass death, torture, direct colonization, manipulation of, control, regulation, manipulation of people's internal politics in foreign countries. determining who gets elected and who doesn't get elected and who runs a country and who doesn't run a country and which trade union gets its leader assassinated or not. Who gets loans from the IMF? Who doesn't? Who gets money? Who doesn't get money? The United States runs 90% of the world except for Russia and China, and the handful of countries that are allied with Russia and China. And what Trump is trying to do is to eliminate those remaining countries. What's that?
Oh, that's the dominoes of each country falling.
That's the idea. I mean, I think that's what they think is going to happen. You take out Iran, and then China falls, and then Russia falls, and then
Cuba,
and then Cuba falls, and then it's a golden globe. It's a golden globe for Trump.
I think. I mean, I don't think there's going to be full-scale war with Russia or China. I think there's some sort of respect for their spheres in some way, but there's definitely an effort to contain their power for sure, and to keep them from, having influence in our sphere. When I asked how you thought the war was going, I didn't ask for that was a very moral argument that you made. Is that I was just going.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So how's the war going? Okay, let me answer that. Let me answer that question.
Yeah. I mean, I think the mullahs are evil. I think America's awesome. But
why do you think the mullahs are evil, man? They're traditionalists.
Yeah,
they're conservatives.
Dude, they banned music, dude. When they got into power, they made music illegal.
They're like brown Catholics. Why do you not like them? They're like, what are you talking about?
Right.
No, not all music, just the music that you like, which is full of sex. Mm-hmm. I mean, how is that Christian? Anyway, no, the war. Okay, so I guess this is the hottest debate besides like who killed the girls right now is who's winning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to weigh in too strongly on this, of course, because I'm not a military analyst. Although then again, when I hear all these generals on CNN talk about it, I'm like, you guys don't know shit. It seems like the United States and Israel are fucked, actually. I could be wrong, but it certainly seems that way. And here's why. Well, let me say this. I think we've now reached a point of really scary inflection. I hate that stupid word, but whatever. But it's scary. So yesterday, reports came out, although I don't know exactly what the sources are here. Anyway, the reports came out that Iran is mining the Strait of Hormuz. 20% of the world's oil supply flows through the Strait of Hormuz. If Iran, which it has done, continues to stop all shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, which it has done for 10 days now, that means they're stopping 20% of the world's oil supply.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't stopped all of it. They've stopped like 90% of it.
Almost all of it.
Yeah.
I've seen the maps. Yeah. It's basically, it's stopped. So, okay. So in 1973, the Yom Kippur War, Israel has gained the upper hand. They are now bombing the shit and killing the shit out of Egyptian soldiers in the desert. They at one point surround a whole contingent of Egyptian soldiers in the desert, and they're about to slaughter them. And OPEC at that moment issues its infamous oil embargo, which destroys the world economy, causes Americans to wait in lines to get gas. And then, and only then, did Kissinger and Nixon say to Israel, you got to stop. We got to stop this war. You got to stop the killing. We got to come to a resolution. In fact, we got to give Egypt and Syria and Lebanon some concessions here because the Arabs have stopped the flow of oil, which is their trump card. And now, not the Arabs, but the Persians are playing their trump card in the same way. And this is why Trump said today on Truth Social, if they continue to stop shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, I forget exactly, they will experience hell on earth and we're going to kill every one of them and their children and their daughters and whatever. So here we are. It looks like not confirmed, but it sure looks like Iran has indeed mined the Strait of Hormuz because there's no shipping going in and out of it. Okay, so what do we do?
I don't think the ships are being struck by mines. There's been like 3 to 5 ships already hit, and they've been struck by projectiles, not mines.
It doesn't matter if it is known by the shipping companies that Iran has mined the Strait of Hormuz. No ships will go through there.
But the thing is, Iran wants to export oil, so mining the strait threatens that for themselves. I don't think they're going to do that.
They want to mine. They want to ship the oil long term. Mm-hmm. But can they cut off exports for a month or two and cause us to spend $10 a gallon on gas?
Well, the Wall Street Journal had a piece today, Wall Street Journal, but saying that Iran has had records exports through the Strait of Hormuz, more than they had before, trying to keep their relationship with China. But yeah.
Well, so anyway, I mean, it's nonetheless, it is the Trump card, so to speak. And Trump is saying, well, I'm going to just bomb the shit out of them even more if they do this. And so now we are left. Here's the moment, everybody. It looks like we're at that moment, like the 1973 moment. Will Trump do what Kissinger and Nixon did, which is to call the whole thing off to avoid a world economic catastrophe? Or will they go harder and do what the Israelis wanted to do in 1973, which is to kill all of them, or kill more of them, or kill more of their stuff and destroy more of their stuff? And I don't know, Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump, I don't know. I could see them going either way at this point. I think Hegseth for sure would go for the more death. Trump, I think, is truly on the fence right now. And this is the moment right now, I think. Mm-hmm. What will he do in response to the closing of the Strait of Hormuz? Will he concede and know and acknowledge and accept that that is the death blow to the American empire? Or will he say, no, we're going out with a fight. We're gonna kill more of your girls. We're gonna kill more of your civilians. We're gonna destroy more of your infrastructure for doing this.
Well,
we'll see.
I mean, you just have the Navy escort tankers. That's the thing, is just have the Navy guarantee safe passage. Now that could result in a lot of dead Americans, but that's the move.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one ship, and Iran can take down a ship. We now know this. I mean, it's pretty clear they can take down a ship that's right there in the Gulf. Easy. They've developed their entire military for 20 years to take down American ships in the Persian Gulf. They have an entire fleet of kamikaze drone ships that'll just fly into U.S. battleships and blow them up.
The thing is, I've never seen Donald Trump or his administration as confident about anything ever as they appear to be whenever they're in public talking about this.
Aren't they confident about everything? Isn't that what they're all about?
Yeah, but this seems like another level. This seems like, now it could be absolute delusional hubris, the worst of the worst, or it could be they have the intelligence that they've actually decimated their Navy, decimated their drone capacity, that they had a long-term plan for a couple months, that this would drag into June maybe, and that they're ahead of schedule on their plan, and they're planning to withdraw maybe in 2 weeks, which is way better than what they thought would happen, and that, they've got a sequence of things where, drone support takes out, the police, and then there's a popular push to overthrow the mullahs, possible. But I'm just saying they seem way more confident than I've ever seen them about anything before, to the point where Trump is campaigning in Northern Kentucky today saying, we've already won, but we're just going to stick around there to keep it safe.
Okay. So here's what we know about protests, large protests in Iran in the last month. Okay. We know that the famous protests that ultimately resulted in all the people getting killed, everyone agrees on this, began for 2 days as a non-violent protest of mostly merchants in Tehran and others, but protesting Iran's economic policies, but mostly because of the sanctions. The economy had collapsed. The real had collapsed because of economic manipulation by the United States, whatever. It was about legitimate grievances about the economy. Then, after 2 days, people started showing up at the protests with guns and Molotov cocktails and flamethrowers and shooting cops. They started shooting cops and setting cops on fire and setting police stations on fire and setting mosques on fire. And that's when the Iranian security forces started to open fire back, which, of course, in the United States, imagine that. If we had massive protests in which people were shooting at police officers with rifles and machine guns and setting them on fire with flamethrowers, police in the United States, imagine if that happened here. How many American citizens would U.S. police forces and National Guard and Army probably kill in response? The Iranian government has said it's been about 3,000, that they killed about 3,000 protesters, so-called protesters, during that time. I think the U.S. would kill a lot more than that. Anyway, so after that, it stopped. Iran closed off the internet because they said that's how these violent protesters were organizing. And when they closed the internet, all those violent protests stopped immediately. Okay. Then
Great free society there, shutting down the internet, shutting down the communication. Really.
What do you think the U.S. would do if we had massive infiltrators from Iran? That's what the Mossad was doing and bragging about it. Iran was bragging. We got people on the streets everywhere in the United States. Oh yeah, protesters! You've got an Iranian intelligence agent walking next to you. You've got an IRGC agent walking next to you in L.A. and Chicago. We'd blow the fuck out of those people. Are you kidding me? Anyway, no, we wouldn't.
I'm not saying we wouldn't necessarily.
Well, of course,
I'm just saying it's just, you know, I see this excuse making for other regimes and a total, like sort of with Russia, like understanding how other people have their own interests, but not understanding how the U.S. can act in their own interests sometimes.
But how? So it's in our imperial interest. Mm-hmm. For sure, to conquer Iran, to have regime change in Iran, to kill children in Iran, to demoralize the civilian population in Iran, to provoke some kind of regime change rebellion in Iran. Oh, the empire, the American empire wants that and needs that because Iran is at the center of Eurasia, and Eurasia has always been pivotal and the most important thing to control for first the British Empire and then the American Empire, and all of their theorists said this, beginning with Mackinder and on through Brzezinski. American and British imperialist theorists have all said for 150 years now, we must control Eurasia. And this is why Iran, 90 million people, right at the center geographically, giant oil reserves underneath it, must be controlled and brought into our sphere as our supplicants, our puppet, our ally, whatever. They must be controlled, which means they must be conquered, because unfortunately that central pivotal state in Asia was taken over in 1979 by people who hate the United States and hate the American empire and hate Zionism. So we've got to remove them. The American Republic, the American people, you and me, our homeland, the place where we live, has no interest whatsoever in Iran, nor should it, nor will it ever, except as possibly a trading partner to get good saffron.
The global economy. We benefit from the global economy. We benefit from global trade. We benefit from...
Yeah, their saffron's great. Mm-hmm. It is.
The oil that passes through the Strait of Hormuz, like,
don't need
access to their oil, you know?
We don't need it.
Mm-hmm. We produce our own oil here, totally.
But... Our allies in Europe and Southern Asia need it. And that's the main reason we're going to war with Iran, by the way, is to prop up our allies in the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. The empire needs this, guys.
We need the chips made in, we need the chips that are made in Taiwan, you know, it's connected.
Well, we can also build our own, make our
Mhm.
own chips, which is what happened.
Not
when China
currently. I mean,
It's been happening since China
yeah.
threatened Iran about 2
Mhm.
years ago. Last I checked, there's all this like
Mhm.
investment in chip manufacturing inside the United States.
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
Great. Yeah.
China forced us to make our own stuff.
Mhm.
Good for them. Very good for them. We should make our own stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. But for somebody who agrees in who believes in global markets, isn't securing the safety and efficiency of those global markets to not be influenced by our adversaries, not, isn't that important?
Sure. I want
Mhm.
the freest markets possible, but like what do you mean here? Like who's making things unfree? Who is making trade unfree?
I mean, Iran just shut down the Strait of Hormuz. They're
Okay, yeah,
they're
sure.
bombing oil tankers. They have a choke point there.
As a temporary tactical response to a war against them. But I mean,
Mhm.
generally speaking, day to day over the last 70 years,
Mhm.
80 years, who has restrained, controlled, regulated international trade more than anyone? We know this, right? I mean, the United States, just everyone agrees on this. Even people who are pro-American empire say, yeah, the reason things are so great is that America has controlled world trade for 80 years. That's good. But they have dictated terms because they won World War II with every other country on earth in their favor, in our favor, in America's favor, and constructed whole networks and institutions, the IMF, World Bank, all of it, the US Treasury alone. I mean, these are massive institutions that have, and everyone agrees on this, controlled other countries, most other countries in the world over the last 80 years. US is the hegemon. This is obviously true.
Mhm. But I'm a beneficiary of that.
Why? Are you?
Yeah, I'm an American. Like I
How do
live
you
under the
benefit?
protection of the empire and what they guarantee us.
So how many trillions have been spent on this? I don't know. I lost track. 10
Mhm.
trillion, something like that.
Mhm.
It's multiple trillions on US foreign policy, on maintaining the US empire.
Mhm.
Okay. So that you've seen that in your taxes, certainly, right? You've seen that in whatever public services you do or don't get where you live. I mean, this is the US government putting out a ton of money elsewhere that could go inward. Since Vietnam, I don't know, 70,000, I guess, American people have been killed in these wars, something like that. I mean, we don't have to mention the 1,000,000, 2,000,000, some people say 5,000,000 people around the world that we have killed in those wars. And what has been protected and what has been gained from it? Trade certainly wasn't helped by going to war in every part of the globe over an 80-year period. War is never good for trade, never good for capitalism. This is why capitalists almost always oppose war unless they're defense contractors. But capitalists generally, historically, have been opposed to war because, of course, it destroys their trade. It destroys the infrastructure that they need to conduct their trade in. How has it benefited you, Michael Weimer? The American empire? I don't get it.
Power exists. People are ruthless. we have the biggest guns. We're protected. We're safe. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And spread of communism. I believe the global communist threat was real.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the Sylvester Stallone school of analysis. This is the First Blood.
They drew First Blood. Well, I'm going to be listening to a lot of Ben Shapiro from here on out, is what I'm telling you.
Are you?
Because he's the only one who's not calling everybody a pedophile right now.
I recommend doing him at playback speed of 0.5.
Yeah.
Just slow it down a little bit. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I'm worried for your mental health.
But yeah.
All right, man. Well,
yeah.
We continue. Mm-hmm. The struggle continues, as the communists like to say, mm-hmm. between you and me.
Yeah.
I think we made some good headway here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a final thing to say to the people to defend your case here?
I'm not arguing for every military intervention ever, period.
Okay.
And I'm not arguing for every negative externality here. But, I could... There's a reason why we're doing what we're doing. Like, there's a reason.
Yeah, I agree. It's for this thing I've been calling the American Empire.
Yeah.
Don't you agree with that?
Yeah.
Cool. Then we're good.
Okay.
If the analysis is, your valuation can differ from mine. I'm talking to the people generally, not you. You can say the American Empire is good, like you're kind of saying, right? It's been good for me, for us, for the world, whatever. And that's an argument to be had, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I want is an analysis.
Okay.
It's not, that is, and I'm not arguing against you. I'm saying,
yeah,
I'm glad you said this. What I want is an analysis that is not, the Jews.
No, you've really convinced me that the American Empire thing has been it from the founding. I used to not agree with you on that. I used to be
250 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
and now I'm
unbroken. There's not been a year off for the American Empire. Not one.
And now I'm starting to reevaluate my libertarian priors about hating FDR and hating Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Because I'm saying they kept the empire alive. They kept this thing America alive. Called America Alive. And maybe, yeah.
Oh my God.
And maybe,
my son. All I've put into you, and this is what you give back to me.
I'm sorry, dude.
My son. My life. I've given you my life, my soul, and this is how you repay your father. Okay. It's great, man. It makes a good show.
Yeah. I was reading The Closing of the American Mind by Alan Bloom, I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And in the first couple chapters, he talks about his students in the 80s and how there was this trendy thing where there'd be far left communists who really loved the Confederacy because they had the same anti-imperial critique. And I'm like, oh, I fell for it. Oh, I'm an idiot.
That's right. It's why I'm a communist now. This is why I'm back to my roots. Yeah, I'm a communist.
Yeah.
The Civil War was a colonial war. Of course it was.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to an unregistered course near you.
Yeah.
By the way, we're doing office hours.
Office hours, yeah.
Because it was lit last week, and I've decided to do this. I think I'm going to do it weekly for the Academy. We had a bunch of people show up, had awesome questions, amazing discussions, and it was great. So I'm going to do it again tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Go to Unregistered Academy at Substack, and it's on the front page. You can click there, just become a member, and you can hang out with us or ask questions, talk to me about anything. Unregistered Academy courses, current events, what courses you would like to see. We can talk about past courses you've taken. It's great. So check it out. Unregisteredacademy.substack.com. And that's tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's on the front page of the Academy Substack. Yes, sir.
I did want to talk to you about Stephen A. Smith. That's really what I've been thinking about all week.
Okay, quickly. 1 minute. What?
No, now let's do it in the after show if we're going to do it at all. But I'm just saying, yeah.
God, I have so much to say. Okay, good. We'll do it in the after show. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. ThaddeusRussell.substack.com, and I was saying that this is the one where you can't talk politics. This is if you talk politics, you get booted. Not really. You can talk about whatever you want, but this is the fun hang. As opposed to
sorry, the after show. Sorry,
the after show happening.
So the after show, yes, the after show is for the Thaddeus Russell Substack, and that is happening right now.
Yeah.
And so if you want to join us there, Michael and me and the subscribers for the TR Substack, yeah, do that. ThaddeusRussell.substack.com. The after show is a blast. It's less academic and more, I'm not gonna say more fun, but it's more freewheeling than the office hours on Thursday. So I hope to see some people there. All right, man.
Yep. See you there.
Been awesome. All right. Peace.
Thanks. Peace.